Hello and welcome everybody. This is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. We're going to analyze the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Patanjali is one of the great sages, one of the greatest actually, in India that you know gave expression to the yoga. That wrote out. He articulated the yoga. He wrote about the yoga. A very concise, historic groundbreaking work that has lasted for millenniums. Patanjali lived about 2,200 years back, and he wrote the very famous work known today as the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So we're going to go into this. I have studied the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali for years, and I have been able to translate it, have an English translation of the work. So I'm going to read you the English translation of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. A lot of people just do yogas, but they really don't go into the study of yoga. Yoga is very good. It's good for your physical body. Exercise, right? To stretch and twist, just like jogging around the city. You stretch and twist, you do the deep breathing, you do the push-ups, you do all those things. They are good for your physical. But when you get an understanding of what you are doing, the result is just incredible. So there's something, you're doing something. I'm taking Tylenol, Panadol, paracetamol, ibuprofen, painkillers to kill pain. But there is nothing as going to the school of pharmacy or taking a course to understand how these things work. Pharmacology, okay, medicine. You now go and find out how it works. Then you now understand how the germs or the viruses or the bacteria, all these different microorganisms, how they attack your system and how your system responds to the attack, how you become sick, you have fever, you have high temperature. How do all these things happen? Then you bring your troops, you bring your soldiers on ground, you bring the Tylenol on ground, you bring the Panadol on ground, you bring the paracetamol, you bring the ibuprofen, you bring the medicine on ground, Motrin. And when this medicine storms, the forces move out against those forces that are against you. They start tackling the viruses, they tackle the germs, they kill them. Or you see, there's a shootout on the war field. And now you are getting better because the viruses cannot destroy you anymore. They can't kill you anymore because you set up a counter struggle activity. They are being attacked and killed by your soldiers, your troops, your Tylenol, your ibuprofen, your Panadol, your paracetamol. So this all that goes on. There is nothing as beautiful as you're taking a course in pharmacology. And let me tell you something, so easy to do this nowadays. People think you have to go to some university. When I'm saying this thing, it's like you have to walk into some college and pay high tuition. Not at all. It's Google. It's Google and it's free and it's on the internet. All universities now have online courses, free. So can any university course you want to take, medicine, engineering, law, whatever, free. It's free and on Google. Take it from the comfort of your bedroom, freely. You get a PhD from your bedroom if you want. So this is the greatness of internet, the internet technology. And the COVID virus just advanced it. Because of coronavirus, people started taking internet courses very seriously. I can't count how many management courses I've taken online. So many. If you name almost anything in management, I've taken courses on it with certifications. So it's very powerful. You can take all these courses by yourself in your bedroom. Some of them are totally free. You take the courses, you understand pharmacology, you know how medicines work in your body, you know how you get sick, what courses it's, the whole process. Take courses in medicine. Some of these courses are highly accredited and they are free online. MIT teaches them, Harvard teaches them. Heard about the edX? Harvard, MIT. They gathered so many other institutions all over the world and started teaching courses freely online. It's called the edX. You have Coursera, you have Allison. That's not you couldn't, and they are accredited. So you can learn anything you want to learn free online. Then when you want to get credit, you have to go to them to get credit. You want to use it to lecture as a professor, you want to use it to work in an industry. You want credit, you go to them, then you have to pay, depending on how much recognition you want. But if you just want to gain knowledge, free. I can't count how many courses I've taken from Harvard, MIT, free. But if you want credit, you want, that's all called auditing. You can audit the courses. But if you want to get credit for it, you want to use it to lecture, you want to use it to go to an industry to work, you want to get, it's what you want. You want more, you pay, you get more. You want more, you pay more, you get more. You want a car, you pay, you get a car. You want a house, you pay, you get a house. You want a free ride, you beg a friend, it takes you free across the street, right? So you see, it depends on the value of what you want. But the knowledge is free. But the value, you want more value for it, then you have to pay for that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get you your Yoga Sutras Patanjali, which I've worked on. I've been able to get an English translation accomplished over the years. Now, the teaching and explanation of yoga, the first verse, chapter 1, verse 1. He says, now. That statement, that word is very vague. A lot of scholars have had arguments and debates on what Patanjali means by now. Okay? I can't say anything. I can't, I believe what Patanjali meant is now. That is, at this time, I'm going to teach you about yoga. Okay? Just as I am saying now. But some scholars don't agree with that. They have all kinds of interpretation for that very first word in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. A lot of scholars have debated and argued over it, God, for a long time. Now, the teaching and explanation of yoga. Okay? 2, yoga is the restraint of thought, the control of flowing thought, protecting it from assuming destructive or negative forms. Yoga is the restraint of thought, the control of flowing thought, protecting thought from assuming destructive or negative forms. The English is so clear and so simple. At this point, it gets complicated later. At that point, the seer dwells in his own natural state. At other points in time, the seer is of identical form as the flowing thought. 4. At other points in time, the seer is of identical form as the flowing thought. 5. There are 5 categories of flowing thought, and they are either painful or not painful. 5 categories of flowing thought, either painful or not painful. 6. They are right knowledge, wrong knowledge, delusion, sleep, and memory. Right knowledge, wrong knowledge, delusion, sleep, and memory. 7. Right knowledge is established on straight perception, inference, and reliable testimony. Reliable testimony. Wrong knowledge on 8, verse 8, we are on verse 8. Wrong knowledge is false knowledge. False knowledge. Not established on true appearance, but illusion, on real nature. 9. Delusion is following certain communication, mere words devoid of ultimate reality. 10. Sleep is the mental activity established upon emptiness, voidness of other mind substances. 11. Memory is the preservation. Memory is the preservation of perceptions, not letting mental records slip away, holding back mental records, images. Okay? Memory. Memory is the preservation of perceptions. Preservation of perceptions, not letting mental records slip away, elude you. 12. These flowing thoughts are restrained by practice and non-attachment or dispassion. 13. Practice is the persistent struggle making effort again and again to gain steadiness. I love that definition. Highlight it. Practice is the persistent struggle, making effort again and again to gain steadiness. Highlight that. 14. This practice becomes firmly grounded when continued with great persistence, perseverance, and tremendous love. 15. Detachment or dispassion towards the visible or audible, everything seen or heard, is mastery attained. 16. The highest discipline of detachment is the non-craving which proceeds from thorough knowledge of the indweller. 17. Samadhi, the meditation known as right knowledge, is followed by critical thinking, clear understanding, perfect happiness, and the sense of I am. 18. There exists another samadhi or meditation accomplished by the persistent practice of abandonment and cessation of all mental activity, leaving only insignificant impressions as residue. 19. This meditation, when not accompanied by non-craving or total detachment, becomes the cause of shapeless existence and all beings who are merged in their nature. 20. For others, enlightenment comes through faith. Enlightenment comes through faith, energy, mindfulness, brilliant focus, and clear understanding. 21. Enlightenment is quite close to those who love dearly and are highly committed to their yoga or yogic discipline, training, and practice. 22. There is further classification regarding the degree of effort used or level of commitment as elementary, intermediate, and advanced. In other words, low level, medium level, and high level. 23. Or by devotion to divinity. In other words, enlightenment is very near to the faithful or devotees, devoted to God. 24. God is a special universal indweller. God is a special universal indweller. Unaffected by pain and suffering, actions and their consequences, or boundless desires and lust. I want you to highlight 24. The definition of God. Patanjali is telling us what God is precisely. God is a special universal indweller, unaffected by pain and suffering, actions and their consequences, or boundless desires and lust. 25. In Almighty God, that special power of transcendental knowledge, which in others is finite, is infinite and boundless. 26. Being ageless and timeless, he is the teacher and master of even the ancient masters. 27. The voice of the divinity is Om. Om. Check the book. Check my translation. I wrote it also in Sanskrit and a transliteration in Roman letters. Okay, but the sounding is Om. Om. 28. The recitation of Om should be practiced with an excellent clarity of meaning. If you wanted, I can take both 27 and 28 again, so you understand what is going on, so nobody's lost. I don't want to lose anybody. The voice of the divinity is Om. In case you're wondering what Om is the voice of the divinity. 27 says, and 28 continues, The recitation of Om should be practiced with an excellent clarity of the meaning. 29. And then self-examination and self-analysis are achieved. Also achieved is the ruin and disappearance of all negative forces and obstacles. 30. Ill health, lack of zeal, skepticism, inattention, sloth, delusion, excessive sensuality, daydreaming, and want of concentration, want of stability, and one-pointed focus are the basic distractions of the mind. These are the fundamental negative forces and obstacles. 31. Discomfort, frustration, anxiety, disordered breathing are all negatives that arise with these fundamental obstacles. 32. The solution to the problem is the incessant practice of one principle, one-pointed focus. By developing affability towards joy and contentment, and sympathy towards pain and suffering, happiness towards good, and unconcern towards evil, purity of mind is achieved. 34. By forcing out and controlling the breath, deep breathing. By forcing out and controlling the breath. That's verse 34. 35. Those kinds of focus that lead to very unusual perceptions of the senses cause steadiness of the mind. Those kinds of focus that lead to very unusual perceptions of the senses cause steadiness of the mind. 36. Or by contemplating and concentrating on sorrowless illumination. Or by contemplating and concentrating on sorrowless illumination. 37. Or by contemplating and concentrating on the mind that has abandoned all sensual desires and attachments. When you abandon desires and attachments, you are free. 38. Or by contemplating and concentrating on the understanding arising from sleep and illusion. 39. Or by contemplating and concentrating on the desirable. 40. The mind of the yogi, ever contemplating and concentrating, advances from the tiniest particle to the greatest mass. 41. When the anxieties, discomforts, and flickering nature of the mind are calmed down and kept under control, the mind becomes like a pure crystal, empowered to become one with anything that appears. The self, the mind, and the material appearance or existence. 42. There is the argumentative case in which arises the confusion of intermixing the name of a material thing, its correct interpretation and understanding or wisdom. I'll take that verse again for clarity. There is the argumentative case in which arises the confusion of intermixing the name of a material thing, its correct interpretation and understanding or wisdom. 43. And there is the non-argumentative case, also known as without thinking. Highlight without thinking, very important teaching. Without thinking. When the memory is pure and only pure. When the memory is pure and only pure. Otherwise empty and absolutely empty. Otherwise empty and absolutely empty. Highlight all these things. Living a glistening mind like sunshine, as if every material thing is an extension of sunshine. Brilliant. 44. By this process, the contemplative and the ultra-contemplative, having the complex and complicated as material things, are also explained. 45. The world of the complex and complicated ends with pure, formless, shapeless, and structureless matter. The world of the complex and complicated ends with pure, formless, shapeless, and structureless matter. 46. These constitute reflections and meditations with seed, objects, material things, etc. 47. Achieving purity of the meditation without thinking. Highlight without thinking, please. There is absolute clarity in the inner consciousness. 48. In that state, divine power manifests. In that state, divine power manifests. The power of truth, infinite life, and boundless wisdom. 49. The power received in this special state of consciousness is unique and different from the knowledge received from reading scriptures and drawing inferences. Power regarding little material things. 50. The resulting impressions or flowing thoughts from this meditation are obstacles obstructing all other impressions. 51. Concluding part 1. When these impressions or flowing thoughts are well controlled, the whole mind is well controlled, and meditation is then free from material things. And that concludes the first part of the Yoga Sutras of the great sage Patanjali. Patanjali is such a mighty genius. You have to understand, he did not just practice yoga and benefit from yoga. He decided to help us out. He knew that generations and generations are coming for thousands and thousands of years. He decided to give it a good expression. He wrote out what he's practicing, the goal, why we practice in the first place, what is pain, what is suffering, what is stress management. How do we manage all these wonderful things, incredible things that we meet on the journey of life? Life is an opportunity to rise, to ascend into divinity from humanity. We're in the human state, the material state, from which we are to ascend into the spiritual state, the perfect state, the divine state. This is the process. So we study, we want to know how do we achieve this? How do we do this? So we study, find out, what did the sages say? What did the great scholars say? We read, we find out. And then now we understand how the steps to take in the journey from humanity to divinity. I leave you to contemplate the rest by yourself. Cheers and have a pleasant day.